Without doubt, one of the highlights of this summer on 4. A rare chance to enjoy an evening with the world's greatest housewife megastar, Dame Edna Everage. Wherever the famous gather, she is there. She is the one the leaders follow. Breaking down world barriers, radiating global peace and wisdom. The lucky few invited to join her include Cliff Richard, Mary Whitehouse, and a well-known disabled ex-serviceman. The Dame Edna Experience, tonight at 9:15 on 4.
Another mystery celebrity gets together with his or her classmates. We're in school after the break.
You're always right. Look, I eat more lean meat and fish. I'm deeply into low cholesterol. I exercise. That dog's done 5,000 miles this year already. Now you bought me a new toothpaste. I've got to change the way I brush my teeth. Start looking after my gums. Gums? I mean, why?
Well, for one thing, you look so much nicer with teeth.
What did you say it was called?
For effective plaque control, brush regularly with Mentadent P.
Hello, James. This policy is definitely the best.
Everyone needs insurance.
Take my advice, James. This is definitely the best policy for you.
Listen, James, I really recommend this policy.
But wouldn't you prefer to choose in your own time and at your own pace? If you'd like to get free, impartial advice on a range of different policies, all you have to do is visit your local branch at the Halifax. Halifax Insurance Service. It could well be your best policy.
Over the past few years, British steels had to get into shape to compete in one of the world's toughest markets. It hasn't always been easy, but the results have been dramatic. We've made ourselves leaner and tougher and more flexible. Output is up, UK sales are up, exports are up, profits are up. The Keep Fit programme of British Steel.
Bye! Everyone's eating Kellogg's bran flakes here, too.
Indeed. Some say they bring good luck.
Do they bring good luck?
No. Kellogg's bran flakes. Let's just say they're very, very tasty. You'd have to go a very long way indeed to find anything as refreshingly cool and minty as a polo.
There is a food for dogs that contains over 50% more meat than the best-selling tin dog food in Britain. Its name is Winalot Prime.
Eye of newt and toe of frog. Wing of bat and tongue of dog. And 3 spoons of sweetener. That'll taste disgusting.
Some sweeteners won't cook at high temperatures, but Sweetex uses NatriBlend, so all your cooking tastes wonderful.
Still needs a little something.
Sweetex. Now you can have your cake and eat it.
Coming to ITV this autumn, television's first competition for quiz leagues, Quiz Night. The general knowledge game for quiz teams from all over Britain. And we're looking for contestants. If you belong to an established quiz team, and if you fancy your chances against some of the toughest competition in the country, then we'd like to hear from you, now. For details and an application form, please send a stamped addressed envelope to Quiz Night, Granada TV, Manchester M60 9EA.
Tonight at 8:15, Channel 4 continues the series examining man and music, this time the 18th century, written and presented by Bamber Gascoigne. On Granada Now, Sarah Kennedy has some classmates.
screeched to a halt like my stick and wheel here, I think my classmate might have looked at this building and gone, "God blimey," because I think this whole surroundings would have taken him, yes, it is a him, taken him back to the poverty of the 30s, and this, his very first school, Detmold Junior School here in the East End. This stick and wheel, of course, God, I'm out of breath now, I can't be very fit. This was a sort of poor substitute in a way for a car, but there weren't school runs in those days, oh no, because the car hadn't been invented. After all, this building here only went up in 1880. Well, I've just been getting the gossip from the boys, and they were telling me that my star classmate tonight used to be a member of the uphill road gang. Very posh. Of course, the downhill road gang looked up at the uphill road gang because they were able to afford these. No, not licorice dabs. These are cake crumbs. Not bad, bought from the local shop. But you know, in 1939, my classmate was only 10 years old, and all these familiar things like the cake crumbs and the stick and wheel, all that was going to change. Time for change at Detmold Road School. When German bombs started raining down on London, the school children, of course, were evacuated to the countryside, and it was a most terrible wrench from family life. But for our classmate, he'd never known family life. Well, after some literally hair-raising escapades, he did manage to find some family life in Bishop Stortford. His next schoolroom was to be the Baptist Church Hall, and all the locals used to refer to the East End lads and lasses as those refugees, not unkindly, I hasten to add. Well, our classmate was still only 10 years old, and for a 10-year-old, in fact, for anyone, the war completely altered people's lives. Now, you any closer? Well, I think I'm going to give up on the clues now and hand you over to his classmates, too. Oh, I'll give you the ring. How nice to see you all.
Hello, Miss.
Hello, Miss. Quite right, too. Now, do you realise at home that this merry band here, and what a bunch they are, they haven't seen each other for, what, 40 years?
53.
40, 50... Will, would you put that away, please? Or there'll be a little bit of this. There'll be a little bit of this. Now, would my classmate have actually taken the cane, or would he just have sort of got round it somehow?
Oh, yes, there was a way he got round it.
Yeah, how was that? He's going to show me how he got round it. Oh, I see. It was like that, was it? Now, shall I, ladies and gentlemen? No, I think he's too old. He's too old. Was this classmate very naughty?
No.
No?
No. He had more rabbit than a bunny.
So we know he's a talker.
Oh, yes.
We know he's a talker. Now, there's a clue for you. Now, we're going to talk a lot about him in a minute, but I think people at home would like to know what you lot have been up to in the last 40 or 50 years. Now, you're looking very glam. What do you do?
I'm a shop assistant. I work in a baker's.
Right. You're looking very coy.
A shoe renovator or a cobbler.
A coy cobbler. Actually, if you'd like to see to mine at the end of the show, if you would. Cheap
Special
price,
rates,
of course.
special
Yes,
rates.
special rates. What about
I'm
you?
a stoker and I work at the Children's Hospital, Hackney Road, London.
So a stoker. A stoker, I see. And, excuse me, what are you, sir?
A bricklayer, retired, but undefeated.
All right, now let's hands up then. Anyone who remembers this particular person who sat here. Hands up, please, hands up. Well, let's start again with you, please.
I remember him. We used to chase him out of school, and kiss chase and pull his hair.
So you liked the girls or you liked the boys?
Both.
A bit of this and a bit of that?
Oh, he was a bit of a devil.
Now, you've got a picture now. This is quite rare, of course, in the pre-war.
When he was between 7 and 8 years old, and he always had sort of frizzy hair.
Bubbly hair.
Bubbly, as you would call
Would
it,
you
yes.
not agree with me there that actually if you knew who he was, he does actually look like that,
Yes,
doesn't
he does, yes.
I think he does. Well, I'll give you that picture back.
Thank you
Let's
very
forget about what he looks like. Let's think about what he sounds like.
Morning, Jameson here. 2 hours of this and that.
There you are, you've got it. He's late for class again. Jameson! What a bunch.
What a shower. Look at it. Outrageous, isn't it?
To coin your own catchphrase, get on with it, Jameson. That's your seat. That's your seat there. I'll remove the cane, but it's fairly near, Derek, in case there's any trouble. I always start this show, Derek, with the same question. So he's still beaming away, isn't he? You enjoying yourself?
Yeah. Oh, Takes you back, doesn't it, eh?
Well, we've got a few surprises for you. Tell us first of all, though, did you like school?
Yes, I think so. You know, it was pretty tough and rough and hard, but it was good fun. We had a laugh.
Which bits did you like about it, then?
I like the cod liver oil and malt, I think. We were so impoverished and suffering from malnutrition that they used to stuff us with cod liver oil and malt and bottles of milk, 1/3 of a pint.
Really?
You used to have to warm them up in front of the fire to melt the ice.
Honestly, it's pathetic, isn't it? Really pathetic. What did you hate?
I hated fighting every day, every week, every month of your life. You were fighting, you know. It was one big running battle. And I always lost. That's what I hate.
But what were you fighting? Were you fighting this gang?
Yes, there they are.
It's slow lies, I tell you. It's all lies.
Which one?
One thing I loathed at school with an absolute passion was the school song. Oh. Now, did you have a school song?
Oh, the greatest.
A really good school song? Well,
yes.
I know. There's a lady down there who does remember. Come on, Pammy, you lead them off. Go on, off you go. Right. School song.
If a girl had gone to Detmold Road when Detmold Road was young, she would by now be very, very old. For Detmold bells were rung.
And how did it end up then?
And it ended up, Detmold stood before us. It's standing firmly still.
The years go past, we grow up fast, but Detmold can and will carry on the burning torch.
That's quite It's like songs of praise.
Sarah, it says, Detmold standing firmly still, and every year it used to sink into the Hackney Marshes, do you remember? And every summer holiday they'd come along and dig a huge hole underneath it, shove in concrete so it didn't fall down.
All right, now this is a free-for-all for everyone. Hands up, anyone who remembers anything about school. Now, you've been talking about the cod liver oil and the milk. What about other things?
Giving us the cane every time we done something wrong.
He really did that?
He really did it, yes.
Oh, what a nice...
in the corner. Standing in the corner.
You make out, though, that it sounded really quite rough. I mean, do you think that, Arthur?
Yeah, it was rough, wasn't it? It was rough.
Yeah?
It was rough.
Did it do you any harm, though?
No. Didn't do us no harm.
No?
No, we got many good aiders, but it didn't do us any harm.
Oh, well, that's good. Do you remember Mr. Cartwright?
Bertram Cartwright.
Oh, he wasn't called Bertram.
That's right.
The only man who ever frightened me, I think, in all my life. And do you remember when he used to get you by the ear?
Yes.
He used to get you by the ear and bash your head against the wall and say, empty tins make the most sound.
My nuns were never like that, I can tell you. I can tell you. Now, we have put you especially next to this gentleman. Now, maybe you can explain
dearest
why.
And dearest. Well, Lenny and I, this is Lenny Frost, and Lenny and I,
This is Derek.
we grew up in what you would call today a home for waifs and strays. A grand old lady called Mrs. Wren took in all the sort of the local rejects, ragtag and bobtail. You know, most of us didn't have any proper families. And she brought us up. She raised over 70 children. She was the old lady who lived in a shoe. I always remember the rent man. Every Friday night, do you remember the rent man? he only came on a Friday because he knew he'd have no chance any other day. And he'd knock on the door. I think his name was Mr. Hadley. Wore a long raincoat. He'd knock on the door. He'd say, Ma, it's the rent man. Tell him I'm not in. He'd say, come along, Mrs. Wren, I can hear you. And she used to come up and used to say to him, are you deaf or daft? I told you I'm not in. He said, come along, Mrs. Wren, let's have £1 for this week and something off the arrears. She said, you get back to that estate agents and tell them I've paid for this house 100 times over. He never got his rent.
That sounds
Those
great.
are the days.
We
well,
took
Lenny and I, we grew
Lenny.
up there.
No, Derek, we took Lenny not so long ago. What was it, a week ago, Lenny? And we went back down memory lane, and he took the laundry as well, didn't you, Lenny?
Yeah.
Like a good boy that he was.
Oh, Derek, remember these sheets? You know where I'm off to now, don't you? I've got to go pop down the old pawn shop. We've had a nice luxury weekend, now we've got Ruffy with blankets. Sorry about that, mate.
But what, I mean, were you all on... It really was true.
Every Monday morning, the sheets went into Uncle's for a few coppers and used to get them out again on Friday.
Oh, don't. I mean, it makes my heart... Was he unusual? No. Or was it... Did you all do this?
No, it was all of us. Everybody did.
You all did it?
Yeah, when every morning.
What did you pawn? Suits?
The old man suit used to go in Friday, used to go in Monday, come home Friday, so you can have it the Saturday, go out to the pub, and then back you go Monday morning.
How did you earn some pocket money? What did you do?
Went behind the horses and for a halfpenny for a bucket picked up all their manure.
Good Lord.
It's a good earner.
And then, now, come on, I have to come to Iris, because it was your parents had a really good time because they ran the shop, didn't they? And so what were the favouriteest sweets of everybody?
Well, gobstoppers, I suppose.
Well, you've
got the gobstoppers and the pipes
the licorice
pipe.
Do you remember the chewing gum, all different colours? Red, blue, green. And in this shop got in the 5 coloured chewing gums and we all went there. Yeah. Oh, 80, 5 for 80. And it was laxatives, wasn't it? We were running for a fortnight.
I'm a bit worried about your stomach, well, with your cod liver oil and your chewing gum. Well, I mean, all this hilarity is absolutely fine, of course, and then the war, well, Hitler stepped in, didn't he? So you were about 10 years old at about that time? Around about that time. And someone had the brilliant idea that obviously you should be evacuated, and of course then you had to be billeted. Now, you went to Bishop Stortford, of course. Well, we did a little trip down memory lane, didn't we? Well, you did, Laurie. And we went back there just to bring back memories of evacuation and all that billeting nonsense.
Well, Derek, here we are. Do you remember this school? This is where we spent 2 or 3 years getting up for away of mischief. Well, Derek, this is one of the classrooms that we spent many happy memories. As you know, we had different religions in different rooms. This one was for the Jewish class. And, well, we were all a little bit down in those days. But I can always remember that to brighten things up, I used to go and do my Winston Churchill impersonations. If you can remember, I should say, in the darkest hours of war, against an unknown enemy, we stood alone. Never in the field of human conflict has so much been owed to so few.
Yes, that's quite enough. Did you learn anything when all this was going on?
I had a teacher who named Ernie Hare. Ernest Hare. Do you remember Ernie Hare? Yeah. And he paid for me to get library tickets. There was no public library. And out of his own pocket, he paid 3 or 4 pence a week so I could get library books. And I got my education reading books, 5 or 6 books a week.
Good heaven, that's really interesting. Now, did you get billeted in one family throughout the war?
Well, no, I had many homes, and I finished up in a hostel for bad boys. But there was one family I was with, yes, one marvellous family, a local builder, actually.
That's the Elliots?
The Elliots, yes.
So the poor boy who had to share his bedroom with you was Morris, and
Absolutely.
He's here with us today. Come on, Morris. Come and dish the dish. He obviously remembers you very kindly. Somebody did actually mention that he was rather keen on a certain room in the house.
Yeah, bathroom. Yeah, we couldn't get him out of the bathroom.
Is this the cod liver oil? Is it because of the cod liver oil? Why was it, though?
Well, I'm not sure how much water he'd seen before he got to us, but he certainly used much of the water up when he came out to us.
He really liked the bathroom.
And stayed in there for ages. My mother could never get him out. I had to go to school dirty, which was not bad.
You have quite good memories of this one.
Oh, yeah. It's not a bad name, really.
Morris, thank you. Can I ask you to shut the door and then take a pew next door?
Yep.
Thank you very much indeed. Morris Elliott. Well done, Morris. It's terribly difficult for anyone who hasn't gone through the war and the Blitz to understand what it was like, especially when you were young. Can you just give us an idea of, I suppose you were separated from your parents and everything like that. The girls here look as if they wanted to say something.
Yes. Well, we were all separated from our parents.
Lonely, presumably.
Yes, lonely.
We missed our parents very, very much. We used to cry a lot, didn't we?
What did you do for education, Arthur?
We did. Right the streets.
Back on the manure again.
Chop up forward. Climb over lapins, pinch their wood.
Well, it wasn't scrumping and all that. It wasn't all miserable, though, was it? I mean, the one thing about the war, it kept... I mean, I think it was the Queen Mother, wasn't it, who said, you know, for the East Enders, the wonderful spirit, and that was thanks to some of the pin-ups. Now, what were your pin-ups? Who did you admire?
Oh, the great singers of those days were Anne Shelton was the favourite of the East End. Vera Lynn was the forces, but Anne Shelton was the big singer in the East End.
Why don't you just look in that desk?
The Mills Brothers in the desk?
She's not in the desk.
Oh, there she is. Remember her? Still going strong.
She's going extremely strong. Would you like to see her?
Yes.
You sure would. Here she goes. To ask you one question. You didn't know about him, but he was listening and admiring you. Do you listen and admire him?
I do. He wakes me up in the morning with, "Come on, Jameson," and but we have a very, very wonderful secret, haven't we? Do you remember the last time we met?
Yes.
It was on the Buckingham Palace lawn.
Oh, my goodness, he has gone up in the world.
Oh, yes. He was the guest of the Not Forgotten Association, which is an association that looks after all the disabled men and women. And Derek came along just as a guest, but now I want him to come along as a performer.
There you are.
There you are.
You see? Only the best, Sarah.
Only the best. Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Anne Shelton, thanks for all that. I think, Derek, you mentioned Ernest Hare. Now, what about writing? Did you have any prowess?
Well, yes, indeed. He entered me for an essay competition on the work of the Red Cross. And to everybody's astonishment and amazement, I won this big essay competition. That was the first step on the road to newspapers. And of course, I had to collect the prize from the Bishop of Hertford at a garden fete, and I only had plimsolls. So Ernie Hare sent me to the Red Cross. I'd just written about them, and they said, "Not you again." Oh, no. And they gave me a pair of girls' shoes, yellow shoes, and rotters. I had to go and collect this prize in girls' yellow shoes. I tried to dye them with black boot polish, so they looked like somebody had spewed over them, you know. So I'll never forget that prize, but that really got me going as a journalist, yeah.
So you were beginning to be quite serious now. Out of this class, you'd become sort of academic. I mean, not an obvious academic, but you were becoming academic. Lenny, how would you summarise what everyone else was doing at this time? Because you were about 14 now?
Yeah, I was a couple of years older than him. Well, the point is, I was dancing, I was enjoying myself, I was. But
dancing?
Yeah, I used to go dancing and all that, you know.
Every night?
Yeah, every night.
Jitterbugging?
I was really enjoying myself, but this little lad here, he used to go to night school so he could learn. He was a twit then, but I know who the twit is now.
Oh, well, that is a most wonderful compliment, because a lot of you were saying you started work, didn't you, without a driving licence as well. I mean, you were all working, and this one was beavering away, but you were at night school, but you weren't alone.
He was a 14-year-old messenger boy, and not even an inside messenger boy, but an outside messenger boy, which is the lowest of the low. I met him at evening classes when we were both trying to remedy the substantial gaps in our blitzed wartime education. I'm forever grateful to him because he put me onto my first job, also here, as an inside messenger, and in return, I undertook to give him elocution lessons. The fact that he didn't take me up on it is probably the reason why he is today a famous broadcasting star. One day, he would say, we'll both become editors. And he was right. One day we did, although in some cases it lasted longer than one day.
Well, who was that?
That, Bernard Shrimsley, who was an office boy when I met him at night classes.
What is he now?
And we used to have fantasies about becoming editors, and between us, we edited 5 or 6 Fleet Street newspapers.
What is he
and
now?
today, he's assistant editor of the Daily Express.
All right, well, hold on. I want to hear a bit more from Bernard.
85 Fleet Street. It's the headquarters of the most famous news agency in the world. And someday, there's going to be a plaque here to Derek Roy Jameson, because that is where he started his astonishing career.
And you must tell us what he went on to do.
Well, he's amazing. You know, first he edits them and then he goes on to make headlines of them.
You said you wanted to be editors, but did you really, deep down, believe that you would?
Well, he did.
From the age of 12, I knew I would be editor of the Daily Express, but I wanted to be editor of the Daily Mirror. So everyone said, oh, you know, but in fact, I was managing editor of the Mirror and the Express and the Star.
Did you think, though, that he would be able to write?
Oh, of course.
He was good at writing.
Oh, yes. He's good at everything.
Well, there's a fan for you, isn't it? Bernard, thank you for joining us on Classmates. Do take a bench. So you have made it to Fleet Street. What about the rest of you? Did anyone go into this sort of profession as well? Oh, let me go over there, Eric. I didn't know about this.
I was jobbing in Fleet Street for 20 years, I suppose.
Did you ever meet him, though?
Saw him a few times, but
Was
could
he
never
sort
get
of like
to
that then, or?
No, I don't think it was. But you could never sort of just get over and say, well, you know, Jameson, my name's Eric Skills, I remember you. You know, it couldn't be done.
Yeah.
He was in a different
There
sort
was
of
a
league
big
to
gap.
That's
then.
right.
A
yes.
big
But,
gap.
yes, certainly.
So you did work in the same...
yeah.
Anyone else work in printing or anything like that? No, so it was just Eric. Now, you mentioned right at the beginning of your classmates, Derek, you said Mrs. Wren was an absolute angel and, you know, she no money at all. Well, there was a little bit of money coming into the house, wasn't it? Actually from another printer. A man called, who lived in the attic, do you remember?
Yes.
Called Charles Rust.
Charlie Rust.
That's right. He's not with us, he's in New Zealand. And with his wife, and he tells a very nasty story about you and a dog's dinner.
Do you remember when we used to go over to the mill fields with Lenny Frost, to have a game of cricket or kick the ball around, and used to take Rex, the Alsatian, over there. He used to have rides on his back now and again.
But what's this about this pie, I'd like to know. From what I can remember, it was Charlie's dinner that you played a joke on him, and it was Charlie's dinner that you gave to the dog to eat.
You tell us exactly what was the real treat in those days. When this little bunch was 10 years old, what did they really like?
Well, the ice cream.
Wolsey's ice cream? What sort? Can you remember them?
Oh, the snow fruit and that.
They don't make that anymore, do they?
I don't think so, do they?
I think you've actually...
The triangle in cardboard.
So you all remember the snow fruit, do you? Yeah. Well, as a special treat, we have just got a special consignment of snow fruit. So I hope you've all got your pennies ready. And just as a special surprise, Derek, I'd like you to open the door and get the snow fruits in, if you would.
Don't tell me
you all ready? Tongues hanging out. 3 neighbourhood girls from Detmold Road, the Beverley Sisters.
Ices, lovely ices.
There they are. Now listen, Derek, do you remember those little ones we used to have in a cardboard triangle?
Yeah,
and used to push them up through the middle, didn't we?
There we go. Right. That, my friends, is the end of Derek Jameson's classmate. Of course, we will have another bottom sitting in that chair next week, so I hope very much that you'll be able to join us for that. No excuses. All right.
Thank you, ma'am.
Wait a minute. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Can I get 2?